Shedeur Sanders, Pittsburgh Steelers, collision course. Big Deke news. So before I start today's show and talk about the main stuff, the Steelers stuff, wanted to give you guys an update, keep you guys in the loop for some cool stuff I got going on this week. And it's with Bleach Report. On Thursday, I'm doing a live 32-man mock draft. Like they're going to host this big show. They did it last year. It was really cool last year. I know some of you guys stopped through, so some of you guys may remember that. They're doing it again this year, and I'm going to be representing the Steelers. They have 32 creators over at Bleach Report representing the 32 teams. So I will be Omar Khan in this mock draft, picking for the Steelers at 21. Another caveat, though, an extra feature for this live mock draft compared to last year's is that they're enabling trades, and there's already trades going on behind the scenes. And I think there's a trade deadline tomorrow at midnight, but they actually still may open the door up for live trades. But right now, I think it's set for a trade deadline tomorrow. That's at, the whole show, the mock draft thing is going to be 2 or 3 on Thursday. I'll get you the exact time between now and then. But in the meantime, I got a couple live shows over at Bleach Report, 6 p.m. I do them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I will be, at least for today, breaking down my draft strategy, my thought process, what I'm going to be doing at 21 most likely. Just, how if things shake out one way, if they don't, am I going to be trying to trade back? Just what my whole thought process is going into this thing. So if you guys want to stop through for today's show and throw your takes in the chat, let me know what you guys think I should be thinking going into this thing. We could have some back and forth, and maybe you guys could set me straight. Maybe you guys could give me a new perspective. But I'll let you know what my draft strategy is going into this whole thing for Thursday, and then we'll see. Maybe we'll follow up again for Wednesday's show, dig more into that, or maybe we'll just have other topics. There's more or different relevant stuff that's popping up in the Steelers world. But that's happening. I will get you guys the appropriate links and all that type of stuff starting today for today's show, but then leading up to the live mock draft, I will get you guys everything you need to show up and participate if you guys want to. But now on to today's show. It looks like Shedeur Sanders really may be a Pittsburgh Steeler for a couple reasons. So Shedeur Sanders had his visit with the Steelers last Thursday, and this was his reaction to it. He said a lot of good things.
I enjoyed my time in Pittsburgh. I think I connected well with all the coaches, and it was real fun.
What's the one takeaway you had from the time you spent with Coach Tomlin?
I understand the mindset and why they win a lot.
Why do they win a lot?
Just how he is as a person, and just the values that the team has, and where he preaches from his staff down is similar to like my dad.
Okay, if you were to give yourself like a grade on how it went, because it's kind of like a job interview, right? You want to make sure you like it, they like you. What grade would you give yourself?
It was a 10. It was a 10.
You know what? I got to give Shedeur props here for this interview and his responses. I think he held his composure. Usually when athletes are doing interviews with Kay Adams or other good-looking female reporters like Taylor Rooks, they start going off the deep end. They'll just literally say anything. The confidence goes through the roof. I'm surprised Shedeur didn't say, yeah, I'm going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. They're picking me. Actually, they're trading into the top 10 to make sure they get me. And I'm about to win. How many Super Bowls they got right now? 6? I'm going to double that. I'm going to win 6. We're going to have 12 Super Bowls when my career's over and I retire. I'm surprised he didn't do that, because usually, like I said, whenever Kay Adams, Taylor Rooks, some of these female reporters are interviewing these athletes, the takes get outlandish.
I would have cooked them too.
You would have cooked Michael Jordan?
Man, nobody got more confidence than 12.
When you step on the floor, do you feel like pride is on the line of that All-Star game, that you have to show up and show out?
I told them earlier, I said I'm just gonna pick up full court.
Okay, we're into that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it just because, let's just set a different tone.
Yes.
Why don't you put him on defense?
I've thought about that.
Tell me about that.
Well, early on we kind of thought about making him a Sam linebacker.
Oh my God!
But there's
Shut
so
up.
many. No, I'm not
No
kidding.
way.
We talked about that.
In fact, if we want Pickens to start giving some better interviews, I think we know what the solution could be here. Get Kay Adams on speed dial instead of Pickens throwing up the face mask and just walking away. I think, who knows what he'll say. If he's already calling himself one of the best receivers of all time, I don't know what's next. Maybe it's something completely off the wall. Maybe he'll actually remember the Pickett era fondly and be like, you know what, it wasn't too bad. Maybe we should have gave Pickett another chance. In fact, Pickett was my favorite quarterback. Yeah, maybe, who knows? Who really knows? Again, some of these athletes will just say anything, but I wouldn't mind a Pickens Kay Adams interview just to see what could happen. But shout out to Shedeur. Obviously, the whole meetup with the Steelers went well. And it seems like it went well from a Steelers standpoint, too. Because what Todd McShay's hearing is it's not only Shedeur rating the visit 10 out of 10, but Tomlin and the Steelers, they have some high faith. They hold Shedeur in high regards.
But I tend to trust where I'm getting this information. Mike Tomlin really likes Shedeur. If he's there at 21, Shedeur could very well be a Pittsburgh Steeler. And if Aaron Rodgers is there, I don't think one would have to do with the others. Two different elements to this.
So if he's there at 21, I wouldn't be surprised. I definitely wouldn't be surprised. Now, the two things that could be holding it up, we've talked about the one, and it's Aaron Rodgers. If we sign Aaron Rodgers, I think it's just less likely that we draft a quarterback in the first round. But if Shedeur falls, even if Shedeur doesn't fall and we still want to take a quarterback at 21, there's a case for it. And I've been over that in multiple shows as to why maybe we need to go that approach of having a guy that you feel like you could win games with now, but also getting the quarterback of the future ready and putting an extra investment into that. But the other thing is the Saints, who were already a team that was in consideration for a quarterback or Shedeur, even with Derek Carr supposedly coming back and being their starter, they were, potentially going to get a guy to wait under him. Derek Carr is potentially going to be out for 2025. There's a chance he undergoes shoulder surgery and his status is very much in question. So the Saints at 9 could take Shedeur. They could take a quarterback. I think there's even a higher chance of that happening now after hearing that news. Now, some people are saying they're just trying to throw out some smoke that they wouldn't have signed Derek Carr to his contract extension like a month ago if this was going to be the case. But I feel like this isn't going to hurt the Saints' chances of drafting a quarterback and potentially Shedeur. So those are a couple hang-ups. And people are even trying to bring up the Saints as a Rodgers destination. Get out of here with that, man. Get out of here. I think it's Steelers or retirement at this point, or he's just really going to wait out the Vikings or potentially wait out the 49ers in case a Purdy contract snafu happens. That's it. There's no way Rodgers is going to the Saints. You want to talk about bad situations. Saints, awful. They're in cap hell, don't really have that good of a team. First-year head coach and Kellen Moore. Who's he throwing to there? Because the Giants, at least they had a higher case for Rodgers than the Saints. And we didn't think the Giants really held a candle to what the Steelers got going on for a quarterback like Rodgers. So Saints, no, man. No, I don't see it happening. I just don't. I think it's Steelers or the other scenarios that I brought up. Retirement or just waiting, just going to continue to wait things out. I don't think he's signing with the Saints anytime soon. Now, sticking with Rodgers, I brought this up last week as to why he may be taking his time to make his decision. He may wait till after the draft. And the way I was coming across with it was like, I understand where he's coming from if this is the case. And that is, he may just not want another Kirk Cousins situation to happen to him, where Kirk Cousins signs with the Falcons. He's expecting that he's going to be the guy for the next 2-3 years. No chance of there being any competition or anyone that he's got to look over his shoulder for. And they end up drafting Michael Penix. And I don't think the Falcons were wrong in doing that. But Rodgers, given his age, where he's at, what he's accomplished, coming into a new team after the whole Jets scenario as an outsider, he may just not want to deal with any of that or any chance of that happening. Where if things get off to a rocky start in 2025, the first month or so is not going so well, the team, having not much invested in Rodgers, may be willing to pull the plug and put a first-round rookie in there. Maybe it's not 4 weeks in the season. Maybe it's like halfway. But I don't think Rodgers doesn't want another Jets scenario. Any calamity, any chaos, anything like that. I think he wants to, if he's going to end his NFL career, go to a new team, reset the clock, all that stuff. He's going to want to go out on good terms in a scenario that he feels like he has control over to some extent, right? That he has some security in that I'm at least going to get a chance to be a full-year starter. Now, some other perspectives were brought up. One of you guys in the chat, African Rage 9993, said Rodgers said if he was still with the Jets, he would have been fine with the Jets drafting a rookie quarterback this year. So I don't think that's the issue. Plus, Rodgers wanted to go to the Vikings, who already have McCarthy, who could replace him at any time. I think it's a good take. Now, I do think there's a couple differences or a couple reasons why Rodgers may be more open to those scenarios with the Jets or the Vikings. And with the Jets, I think it's just because he has history there. Like, there already is some continuity. So that's something that he could lean on. He wouldn't be restarting and resetting with a whole new situation. There's some investment there with the Jets, right? And then with the Vikings, maybe he just trusts what they got going as an offense more than what the Steelers would have because of O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. Like, he might be thinking to himself, and he's playing in a dome, like, going back to his old division as well, this can't go wrong. If they sign me, obviously I'm the starter. There's just no question this is going to be an awesome marriage for at least a year. Like this, he's just looking at it. This can't go wrong. Where maybe he's looking at the Steelers thing and saying to himself, maybe it could get off to a rocky start. And if it does, just based off how the Steelers have handled offense over the last several years without Big Ben, this could get off to a rocky start. And then he may be wondering to himself, do I trust the Steelers to make the decision to stick with me throughout this whole thing with how they've gone through this musical chairs of quarterbacks over the last 3 or 4 years? Again, they don't have much invested in me. So who's to say they don't go with the guy they take in the first round if things aren't looking good a month in, 2 months into the season? Those are the only caveats I could think of, but I do think it's a very good point. And the next day, actually, after I think I made the video talking about this type of stuff, Schefter went on a show and said he doesn't think Rodgers cares who the Steelers pick. This is more about just him deciding whether or not he wants to retire. And then Garofalo said the same thing. He thinks he doesn't care who the Steelers pick. He's open to being a mentor. He's open to doing that type of stuff. So, yeah, maybe I'm off a little bit on thinking that Rodgers may be going through that process of not wanting a Kirk Cousins situation for him. But again, I will say this, if he's thinking that, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for thinking that, but maybe based off what one of you guys said in the chat, what Garofalo Schefter said, maybe it's not even on his mind at all, and he's just questioning whether or not he just wants to play, period, or if it wants to be with the Steelers and if he's willing to wait out for the Vikings or the 49ers or something like that. But, yeah, not much update on the Rodgers front, but we do have some Shedeur stuff, which we talked about earlier. But that's it for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Stay chilling. Peace.